accepted as true. Join us as Mel Doerr hosts a discussion with other psychics to explore these topics from different points of view. Do we all have to believe in the same things? No. But in order to accept the opinions of others, we need to understand them and not judge them. We need to look at the other side of the coin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Other Side of the Coin. This is episode 3, and today we're talking about grounding. I'm TarotStache. Gerald, thank you for being here. I am joined by Colleen, the cool crone, and Sherry, voices from the swamp. Mel is unavailable tonight, so we can send him a lot of love and good energy. And all of our links are below, so you can show support to all of the channels. And as always, since I'm hosting this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make any decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance. Really. So there we go. So, Colleen, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. I'm just these last few weeks, I've just been very floaty. I'm just very ungrounded.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard that a lot of people are feeling like this. So I think this topic is very timely because I've literally heard psychic after psychic be like, I am so out there, and I'm doing the 4 a.m. thing. And I know that when I go to sleep, I'm doing the big dreams because I wake up and I'm like,
Yes.
oh, that was good. I had a big full night's sleep, and it's like 1 a.m. And then I go back to sleep, and then at 4 o'clock, I get up again.
Yes.
I'm like, what the hell? And so I don't think it's just that I'm tired. I'm literally just like floating. Floaty. That's what it feels like. So that's how I am.
Okay.
I'm glad to know I'm not the only one that's waking up in the middle of the night. So
yeah. Yeah.
Right. Well, and I was just thinking I was preparing for this, I'm like going, I'm not grounded, and that's part of what has been happening for the last in particular the last hour and a half, but the last several days it's been a little wacky. So
yeah.
And so, but
it's like I told Gerald when we were backstage when I first came on, I was like, this has been the week from hell for me. It just everything has just been discombobulated at work.
Right.
So
right.
I'm just gonna take my sweater off. I'll be right back.
Well, and I do want to point out, and a good point about this is we grow and evolve as human beings and spiritual beings, and I like to think that what worked for us yesterday for grounding may not work for us today. And that's okay. That's part of being an evolving being. So there is in the description below, I have linked a playlist that I have, which is shielding, grounding, and protection. There's 6 videos in there, which it's various people. Medium Betsy Palmer and I have talked about this topic multiple times because it's so important.
Yeah.
It's so important. So let's get up caught in chat. Susan's here. Sherry. Ooh, mods, please watch this one. Maureen is here. And Anita K. Maureen had said, all I want to do is go to bed at 4 a.m. and take a nap until 2 p.m. Rinse and repeat. Yeah. Yeah. And Maruta is here. Hello. Thank you. So I'm very pleased to be leading this discussion. And so I do have, I want to remind everybody to follow the links in the description to show your support for all of the channels. Please verify that you are subscribed to the channels. It is free to subscribe.
Yeah,
So,
YouTube's been doing some funky stuff with
It
the
sure has. Yeah.
subscriptions again.
yeah.
I found 6 channels that I got unsubscribed from that
Mhm.
I've been subscribed to forever.
Yeah.
Just this week. It's like, okay, yeah.
So the first question that I have, I'm going to put Sherry on the spot first.
Okay.
What is
Wait,
ground?
excuse me, Gerald. Before we start, I just want to say about Mel, he's not
Please.
he's not suffering any kind of a setback, guys. He's just he's
No.
having the normal bumps and bumps and curves in the road that you have when you're recovering from surgery. He's not like headed
He's
back to the
tired.
hospital.
Yeah.
He's tired, he's recovering, he's healing, and it's just, please don't
normal.
feel like, oh, send healing for Mel. Well, yeah, send him healing, but he's not like, it's not
He's
like
not at death's door or anything at
no,
all.
he's
No, not at
way
all.
past that. So I just wanted to say that so people are not worrying about him.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's a
good.
really
That's
good thing.
Okay,
That's
good.
a very good thing. This is
Good.
why you're co-hosting for me.
I'm trying.
So, boom. So the first question that I want to ask is what is grounding? And thinking about that, is there a difference in 3D and spiritual terms? So
You wanted me to answer first?
if you don't mind, we're going to sort of go round
I do
robin.
not mind. Okay. Well, with me, I really didn't know what grounding was until I kind of fell into this community and started learning and growing. And the first few times somebody said something to me, well, you need to ground. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. What do you do? And so I have found over the past several years that if I have that weird floaty feeling or just a discombobulated feeling, there are several people that do the guided meditations that I'll listen to because I can't get my brain to shut up long enough to do one by myself. And I'll listen to music or I'll plug in a movie so that I can just kind of unplug from all that we do with the woo, and I just watch something for pure enjoyment. And that kind of helps me reset. A lot of times and I do this a lot at night after everybody else has gone to bed. I like to go sit outside on the patio by myself and just enjoy the nighttime.
It's beautiful.
It's very relaxing for me. That seems to really help a lot. And so as long as no Rougarou comes by, I'm good to go. It's
So
no
also,
dog man.
those of you who are watching, feel free to leave a comment about what is grounding for you. So, Colleen, what is grounding for you?
Well, it is for me two different things, and very often they happen together. So when I get really, really spaced out, sometimes I just kind of surf on that floatiness and enjoy it.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm just like, oh, this is great. And I stop like forcing myself to do real concentrated work. And I just kind of sit back and kind of go, oh, this is where I'm at right now, and kind of enjoy it.
Hence my rocking chair on the porch.
Yes, something like that. And then sometimes it's a little unnerving. I feel too much ungrounded, and then I might do something immediate, like ground with food. Food can ground you.
Yes.
And then if it's really bad, then I'll do like a meditation or something, to really focus in and bring it back down. But I do think my cat's doing her thing, so you're going to see her tail any minute now. The 3D grounding is more your body, your physical, anything connected to your physical. And the spiritual grounding is more using your mind and emotions to ground yourself, which I guess I have success with that, but sometimes I just kind of give into it.
That makes sense.
I don't mind being ungrounded. I'm usually very grounded. I have a lot of earth in my chart, so I'm pretty grounded. But when I'm ungrounded, it's like I said, it's like a little vacay.
See, and I didn't even realize that there was a difference between a 3D and a spiritual grounding. And I once you explained it just now, I was kind of like, oh yeah, okay. I usually do this when it's more of a 3D, and then I usually do this when it's more of that headspace I get into with the spiritual end of it. So yeah, that's cool.
Well, and I think it is one of those things for me. Grounding is a way for me to get back on center. So it feels like I'm a bit of a gyroscope, or I'm like going like that, and I'm not having any control over it. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes that is exactly what's needed, especially in a high ritual. It's great. It's great. But in 3D terms, sometimes it's, for me, it's just having a grounding is getting back into my body and getting back to the physicality of what's going on. I know that I'm not grounded when I can't follow a thought process.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, and so we'll talk about how to ground in a little bit. So, but
I want to comment on what I don't know if this is Gary and David or both, but the 5 a.m. morning walk through the neighborhood, and this is also for what Sherry's experiencing too. And also, I get to say howdy to several of my neighborhood kitty cats, and some other people have said, like, I listen to music, whatever. I would say that all those activities are not quite grounding you. They are allowing you to sit in that liminal space, in that space in between being grounded, being really, I'm down to earth, I'm handling earthly things, and I'm taking care of my body and that kind of stuff. And then being connected to your higher self. Because like if you're out at 5 a.m. walking through the neighborhood, I love that thing. I like being the first one at the office. Like it's still quiet. There's no hubbub.
Yes.
Sure,
and you're kind of just it's you and that environment. Like it could be you in the universe, or you in the moon, or you in your house, or you and your cat, but it's just you're in this space where you're enjoying this other vibration, this other level of vibration, and it isn't totally grounded, but it is setting you up for a very nice day, right?
Yeah, it's and it's like it's my time to think and just exist.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love doing that in the morning because it makes it more likely that I'm going to have a smooth day.
Exactly.
And a lot of people will talk about that, doing prayer, doing meditation, doing writing. These are all things that when you do first thing in the morning, it can be very centering, and even the categories.
Yes, she does. And I think that, that's what the nuns and the monks tuned into. They had that down in spades. They're like, okay, we're getting up before the sun, and we're going to commune with ourselves and God and get all that stuff. But they weren't really grounded. They were in that liminal space in between. And even the light in the sky is in a liminal space because it's not quite, the sun's not quite up. So it's not quite dark, but it isn't all the way daylight. And that's a beautiful place to be. That's actually like going through a portal, a liminal space. And so
I love doing my first cup of coffee in the morning. I go out on the patio as well, that first cup, and I can just sit and just kind of watch the sun come up and just kind of, okay, what kind of day is it going to be today? And I try not to run too many things through my brain as far as my to-do list, but I try to hit like the highlights. I need to remember to pay this bill or drop this off or whatever, the major things. The rest of this stuff I'll deal with as it happens. But it's just that first cup in the morning and just, I go out there, I sit,
Yeah.
I've got my coffee, I've got my cigarette, I've got my quiet, and I could just kind of wake up because I'm not a very happy person in the morning when I wake up.
And
I'm a grump.
and I think Pamela's onto it, which is and I'm just going to keep beating this drum. This space that you're all in is not really a grounded space, but it is being in your heart rather than your head. It's like you're
Right.
doing this for yourself. You're loving yourself in the morning. You're giving yourself a good start to the day. This is just the ultimate, activation of your own advocacy, which is just a beautiful way to start the day. And then the coffee, when that starts to kick in, the coffees are beans. They come from the earth. The coffee does ground you and gets you set up to start doing the normal 3D things that you need to do for the day. And then you move into being grounded, but you set yourself up from that liminal feeling where it's not day, not night, not day, not night. And you kind of allow yourself to kind of slide into that stuff. And that, I think that's a beautiful way to start the day.
Yes, I love the way that you're describing it, because when you're in that liminal space, you're clearing the landing, you're clearing the path, so that when you do something to physically be in your body, it works extremely well. And I'm so grateful that you mentioned coffee, and because I'm going to jump one of the things, there's lots of different ways to ground. I recommend, TarotStache approved, try all of them. Try the one, search it on YouTube. Go to the playlist that I have in the description.
Yeah, he's got a great playlist in there. I just went and looked.
And try different things. And if it helps you get to the point of where you're feeling in your body, you're sitting up straight, it really works well. But I'm going to jump the question and say, how do you ground? How do you ground? I'm going to jump in on this because I think food and like chocolate is particularly good at helping people ground.
Yes, it is. Again, chocolate, the cocoa bean, comes from the earth. It's very grounding.
My mother had a
dark. Yeah. Go ahead.
My mother had a steadfast rule that you must eat chocolate every day, even if it was just one bite, even if it was just one little square on a candy bar. One bite, you must have some every day. That was her golden rule for as far back as I can remember. And most people would laugh when she said it, but I would be like, oh no, she's serious. She's not a big chocolate eater, but she'll eat that one piece a day. And
now, and my cat agrees. Now, do you think that she was somehow grounding herself with that chocolate?
I believe so. I believe so. Because she was very psychic. Yeah. She just didn't talk about it and didn't express it. She encouraged it in me when I started opening that door. But she didn't want to go back through it because her particular gifts frightened her.
Yeah.
And she didn't like going into that space. And so, but I think because she drank a lot of coffee, she would eat that little bit of chocolate. She had several things that she would do on just almost ritualistic daily that kind of helped set her up for the day and to keep going. And so she was probably one of the most grounded people I've ever known. I mean, she just seemed to just flow with it,
I like the idea of ritual helping, because people have talked about that. If you want to jog, you put your shoes out in the morning so that they're there, and you create and you build energy. I think it is important. After I have been in my coven, we do a ritual. Oftentimes there's food consumed afterwards or during it to help you come back into the body, because your body has to digest. And it's really very powerful. And I think there are many, many ways to ground. Colleen, what are some of your favorite ways to ground?
Oh, Gerald, how long do you have? Because I could go on for a while.
Good. Well, and by the way, I'm going to, if you have not watched Reveal the Future, please do so, because Colleen has done a beautiful, beautiful series to help people meditate. And it's there's when you're finishing up, you're helping people ground and get back into their body. Very beautiful. Very,
Well,
very
thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you. I love
I
that.
love that monthly meditation that we do. I think I've missed it twice because of other obligations that I couldn't rearrange, but I get so much out of it just being there. I mean,
Excellent.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad. I'm really glad. So, as I said before, I have the more spiritual, more dramatic, formal way of grounding, but a lot of grounding for me is either visualization or food. So, the first way that people can ground is just a little bit of salt on your tongue. Salt is the earth,
Mhm.
right? So, salt of the earth, right? That's where that saying comes from, I think. I could be totally wrong, but I'm making it up now, folks, and I'm deciding that that's where it came from.
It's
Uh,
okay. It's
so, a little
okay.
salt on the tongue, and that will ground you right away. So, things that are salty also can ground you, like a potato chip. Now, potato chip has the benefit of also being from a potato, and potatoes are grown in the earth, under the earth. So potatoes are grounding. All kind of root vegetables are grounding. Dark green leafy vegetables, if you can't get an actual, tuber in you, you can get any of those kinds of things. But not just heavy foods, like dairy food isn't grounding,
Mm.
heavy meat isn't grounding, but
Mm-mm.
things that are grown in the earth, and
Mhm.
things like beans, like coffee beans, the chocolate bean, regular beans, green beans, kidney beans, fava beans, garbanzo beans,
Yep.
lentils,
Yeah.
those kinds of things are all grounding. And I do think that food for many um, groups that meet, whether it's a temple or a yeshiva or a monastery or a coven, they most usually end their rituals by sharing some kind of food, even if it isn't a full meal. They
Mhm.
might pass around some chocolate, or they might just take a bit of salt on their tongue, or they might share some potato chips or something, but something that will help them ground.
Yes.
So all of those things will help you ground. um,
Mhm.
but I'm also a big believer in just the visualization using that I use for grounding, and there's several different ones, but my favorite one is to close my eyes and envision my legs and feet as if they are the roots of a tree, and sending those roots down into the earth as deeply as I possibly can. And I just keep letting them go and go and go and go. And then I feel the energy of the earth coming up through those roots, and they fill up the rest of my body. And then I feel grounded. I feel connected to the earth. Um,
Mhm.
Also, you can back up to a tree, put your spine right
Oh,
up against
yes.
the tree.
Mm-hmm.
That will ground you, and the tree can heal you. So that's like double duty. That one, when you're feeling ungrounded and either afraid or shaky or unwell, a tree is a great thing to ground with.
Mhm.
Just touching a plant will help ground you. Um, Touching yourself, just literally taking your arms and kind of hugging yourself will help you ground, because it
Mm-hmm.
closes the circuit of energy going around your body. Whereas when you're ungrounded, your energy is kind of going out. You can feel that your energy is much
Mhm.
looser and kind of floating more, right? Going around your body. When you do that kind of hugging thing, you pull the body in, you pull the energy in, and that's
Mhm.
really, really good. And one last one, because I know I'm really going on here. So
No,
what
this is great.
No,
This
you're
is why
good.
we're doing this.
so
Yeah.
another one is when you're doing the tree with the roots going down in the earth, if you make them a little shorter, like maybe only 10 or 20 feet into the earth, then allow that energy to turn around on both sides of your body, and to come up either side of your body and then bring the energy back down into your crown and create
Mm.
a circuit of energy so that you're connected to the earth, but you're also kind of flushing yourself with good chi and good energy.
Oh, I
It's
like
it's
that.
a it's a beautiful feeling. It's a really, really good
Hmm.
feeling. And you can always have that cord that comes from above your really from your higher self down through your crown chakra, through all your chakras down into the earth. That can ground you too. And most people use a
Mhm.
silver or a white cord, but if you're feeling particularly ungrounded, you can make the cord brown or even black, and
Hmm.
that further enhances the grounding qualities. Um, you know, visualizing things that are brown, dark green, black, or just visualizing root vegetables, things like that can really help you ground. I think it's important to incorporate body, mind, and spirit when you're doing grounding.
Hmm.
So as much of the, a little bit of the physical, a little bit of the spirit, and a little bit of the mental is very, very. It just makes it easy, you know. And I would suggest for people, especially empaths who find themselves ungrounded whenever they go outside their home and they're like terrified every time they get somewhere. I've
Yes.
felt like that often. Um, Set
Yeah,
up for yourself a quick little ritual, either of that tree root going down there, or just visualize yourself backing up to a tree, or visualize yourself being a part of a basket of root vegetables, or some kind of quick little visualization that you can just close your eyes, get that visualization in your head, just give yourself a couple of breaths. And then when you open your eyes, you're just kind of feeling normal. And that fear, that uneasiness will just vanish because you're grounded now. Because
Yes.
for empaths, especially, once that, because empaths are so open to everybody's energy that it's very easy to get overstimulated with that
Yes.
energy.
mhm.
And once you're overstimulated, you are not in control to get yourself unstimulated. You're
Yes.
just kind of at the mercy of all of this stuff going around. So, for that occasion, I have a different kind of visualization that you can do. And that is, as if you're standing up, visualize a big circle in front of you. And within that circle, create in your mind's eye a mandala of flowers.
Mm.
Beautiful flowers, all in a big circular. They can be all one big flower. It can be many flowers. It can be like a beautiful design of flowers. And get that beautiful mandala going really strong right in front of you. And then make a mirror one right behind you, and allow those two mandalas to really compress your energy back towards your body, so that you're
I like
protected,
that.
and you're not allowing other people's energy to come in and kind of buffet you with their energy. And you
Yes.
will feel yourself, your breathing will slow down, you'll feel a little calmer, you're getting grounded, and you're saving yourself. You're allowing yourself not to be a victim of your empathic skills, nor of being ungrounded. So that I love that one. That's just one of
That's
my very,
great.
very favorite ones.
It's funny you were talking about having your feet go down into the earth and everything. Now, I do something similar, but with me, it's water.
Oh, okay.
It's visualizing putting my feet in the
Ah, okay.
water, and just there's something about the feeling of sitting like on a dock or somewhere like that,
Mhm.
and your feet are just in the water and you just feel it. It's I don't know, it's hard to describe in words the feeling it gives me, but it's like I feel like I'm plugging into earth when I go into the water.
That is
Mm.
And I
interesting.
know everybody teases me at work because I have to go outside every day, even if it's only for 10 or 15
Yeah.
minutes. Hot or cold, rain or sun, it doesn't matter. I have to go outside every day and go walk around, or which is limited nowadays. I can't walk that far, but at least I'm really thankful that there are some spots right around the building where I work that are a lot of trees and bushes and stuff, and I can kind of like go behind them between
Mm,
the building and the bushes and stuff,
good.
where
Mm-hmm.
People coming up can't see me, but I can see them coming, and I can either fade back into towards the building, or I can step forward to say hello. I usually scare the hell out of them if I do that, but it's just a way of, it's like just surrounding myself with nature.
Yeah.
It's like that's what charges my batteries up for the afternoon,
Yeah.
So by lunchtime, it's like I can't get out of the building fast enough. It's
Sure.
just, um, but that's several of the. I know my husband used to laugh at me because I could go put like either a blanket or a lawn chair out in the yard under a tree and lay down and sleep for hours
Hmm.
outside. And he was like, I don't know how you can sleep outside. And I'm like, it's the most relaxing thing in
Sure.
the world. It's just, I lay down and boom, I'm out.
I,
Um,
I want to. Colleen was talking about empaths and being overstimulated, and when you're
mm,
overstimulated, it's
Mm.
hard to not be overstimulated.
Mhm.
I oftentimes, as an empath, sometimes I have difficulty understanding that which is mine and that which is the others,
Yeah.
which goes into that overstimulation.
Yeah.
So, and I'm a big supporter for whatever it is that gets you to go, wait a minute, this isn't mine,
Right.
or I might be a little overstimulated. um, Work with that. Use
Yeah.
that as a great starting point, because I am a firm believer awareness is the first step.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, see, I would say that what Sherry's doing, that is your grounding, going out there. You're almost becoming a part of the bushes and trees
True.
and plants.
yeah,
And you need that. It's like going to mother's womb. That's just how you feel, and
yeah.
very safe and very, so that scenario and that ritual is your grounding. So every day you have to go out and
Yeah,
ground.
because I pick up everybody's emotions and whatnot
Right.
constantly, and it's that overstimulation and or draining.
Yeah. And
So it just
you're
depends on
all
the person around me. Are they more of an energy vampire, or are they just so kinetic that it makes me that way? And
Hmm.
and so it's like go outside, and I can take a deep breath and calm, and it
Yeah.
works for me all the time. I mean, it just, but I have to do it outside. I
Yeah.
can't do it in the house. I have to go
Yeah.
outside.
Hmm.
Well, and also you're a Gemini. And so
Mhm.
you being outside in the air, and then you also mentioned water, being connected to the elements is really important for you. And that earth connection with the plants and the trees, I think what I got when you're talking about that, you literally kind of become a part of it. That's why you scare
Hmm.
Yeah,
people, because
yeah.
they
They
literally
don't
They
see
not
me.
don't see
see
you.
you.
Yeah.
They don't see you at all. You kind of blended into the plants, and then when you come back out, you're in a liminal space, and you're starting to come back out into you, but
Yes.
you are grounded. You're very grounded.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
really, really cool.
I love that.
And I think understanding what other people's energy is as opposed to your own energy, I think that's one of the things about grounding, is that that's how you can help separate that. Because
Hmm.
if you're overstimulated, I don't know, I think a lot of people might relate to this, that when you're doing a lot of when you're connected to the divine, for an extended period of time, or just for a big download, or it's extreme feeling, I feel like my solar plexus has drunk a pot of coffee, like not the rest of me, but just right
Yeah.
there in the middle of my body. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on there. And that's when I will feel like somebody's like, their bad back, or I'll feel their leg that
Mm.
they broke, or I'll feel the stomach upset, or I'll feel
Mhm.
their headache, or whatever. And it's not mine. And I'm just
Yes.
like, oh God, do I have to go take something? And then I'm realizing, no, that wasn't me. And what I used to do, and now I have to remind myself that I used to do this, and now I can do it again, is I would just stop and say, um, now who is that? Whose is that? Who does that belong to? And I just sit and wait. And once I could figure out who it belonged to, then their physical symptom would go away, and then I would just ground. I would do a real grounding. But when you're in that kind of agitated state, it's very hard to tell what it is unless you make it a practice. And again, just a little mini ritual for yourself to ask the question, who does that belong to? Why am I getting that? Where is that coming from? Because you didn't just fall down and break your leg. So why the hell do you feel like your femur's sticking out of your skin?
Yes.
Like that's an extreme one, but
and it's only been in the past, I guess, maybe 2 years that I've started being able to tell if it's my feelings that I'm feeling or if it's somebody else's feelings that I'm
good.
drawing in.
Exactly. Yeah.
And because for all my life, it was like I constantly aches and pains and coughs and colds. And it took me up until a couple of years ago to realize 90% of that is not me. That's just, I'm picking up what everybody else is going through. And so it's been learning how to, and this has been the hard part for me, is learning how to keep those shields up enough that I'm not absorbing it unless it's necessary. And at the same time, leave them kind of flimsy enough that if I need to reach out, I can without having to make a major effort. And that's been a real learning curve for me. I'd probably say the last year and a half or so is just
That's great.
figuring out how to do that. And
well, that's the beauty of doing something like the mandala exercise, because you can pull yourself in, you can pull all the energy in, and then when you're ready, just make a window in the mandala and say, okay, now I can let in what is Carol feeling, or what does Pat need to be healed, or what does my dog need to be healed, and just let that come in, but those visualizations are very good at helping you to discipline yourself to be able to do that. It doesn't always work, and it takes practice. But as you go to practice, you'll probably find other things that even work better than my suggestion. But it gets you started on that path of, I can control this. I can be okay with this, because some of that ungrounded feeling and taking on other people's things is a little scary and uncomfortable. And so you want to get yourself to a very comfortable, loving place so that you can then love yourself enough to just be grounded, but then open up to the other people as you want to. That's
one of the things I've found that really has helped me with this has been going back to the Tai Chi and the Qigong. Because there's so much physically I can't do anymore because of my own injuries. But that's something that because it's such slow, practiced, fluid movements that you're not shocking your system. And I find that can help soothe me or reinvigorate me if I'm feeling drained. It's like I plug into spirit and I can feel it. And so, and there are some great videos on YouTube, y'all. Several Tai Chi masters that do videos and stuff on it. They're on regular play on my show. So
I think it's a really good idea, that visualization, Colleen. For me, visualization hasn't always been part of my grounding. But I like that visualization in particular because of feeling that you have roots, pushing down into the soil. And when you have strong roots, you're okay. And if you can be like the willow and move with the wind, that's a really important thing. And let's see. So Sherry said earlier, why is it that I have more luck visualizing with my eyes open rather than closed? Is this odd?
No, it's a gift. You're very lucky. That's great.
Yeah. I think, Sherry, if whatever works for you, keep doing it, because that ritual is really very important. And speaking of ritual, Brian, Blushing Nerd Tarot, said, Ritual seems to be a key part of staying grounded. I often don't recognize long periods of ungroundedness when I don't stick with some sort of ritual. Months can go by at times. It feels like lost time.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Well, a ritual doesn't have to take very long.
Mm-mm.
Like when I read cards, I have a little thing that I say in my head. It's like two sentences. It's really nothing, but I've done it for so long, and when I started doing it, I had a visualization that I used, and it just comes in real quick, and that's it. That's a ritual. When I go in to brush my teeth and get in the shower, my little ritual is, brush the teeth, swish the mouthwash, wash the face, hop in the
Yep.
shower. That's my little ritual. And it
Yes.
doesn't take long. And I do it kind of on automatic pilot. And lots of things can do that. The grounding, grabbing the salt when you don't feel right, the putting the visualization of the mandalas up so you don't get too spaced out and wackadoodle with everybody's energy. All of these things can become very quick little rituals. If
Mm-hmm.
you need or want to do something more formal, go ahead, but you don't have to wait to do something big and long. You can do something
Yep.
very, very quick. Because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if months have gone by and you're feeling really untethered, that's no bueno. That's not good for your heart and soul. That is not
Mm-mm.
good. You know, you
Yeah.
can rectify that pretty quickly.
Yeah. And I love, I'm a big fan of ritual because when you do something over and over and over, Colleen and I have talked about this before. When you do something the same way again and again and again, you're bringing all of that energy with you to the next time that you're doing it.
Mm.
So it is
That makes
equally
sense.
powerful, if not more powerful, because you have built that, and that ritual is, for me, it's very important with grounding. I mean,
Yeah.
I do grounding in my shower, and when I take a shower, and
Yeah.
it's part of
Mhm.
what I do. I do the who is it? Energy medicine, Donna Eden, the zip up technique,
Mhm.
where adjusting my chakras so they all go together, and it works very, very. It's very helpful.
Mhm.
So, and I'll be honest with you, if I haven't done that, I've actually gotten back in the shower and done it because it's like, ooh, this is weird. This is weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, the shower is like I feel like I can literally feel the energy of the day being washed down the drain.
Mhm. Yes.
Is the
Yeah.
feeling I get. It's like
That's nice.
it's like having the old icky energy that's been around me all day long, and it's just
Yep.
down the drain. And now I've got bright, shiny new energy to work with.
Hmm.
That's how it always makes me feel.
You
Before
know
I even knew that that's what it was.
Yeah, yeah. There is a saying in a lot of um, earth-based traditions, to walk the well-worn path. And when you do that, you are walking or doing a ritual that has probably been done, maybe not for thousands of years. Let's be real, folks. It's not thousands of years, but it has been done before by somebody who is in some way your ancestor. Could have
Hmm.
been your family, maybe not your family, maybe some guardian of yours, or
Yes.
some being that is your guardian, or some practice that you follow that is a group that you now call your own. Maybe you're Buddhist or something like that. But that well-worn path is also encompassing the energy of all the beings who have done those things before, and you are tapping into that. And if you don't believe you're tapping into that, then you're wasting your time,
Yeah.
because you can grab that energy from that ritual very easily and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Let it feel good. It's not like you're getting something for nothing. It's you're engaging in the same things that the ancestors engaged in, and you deserve it just as much as they do. And that's
Yeah.
what it's for.
I love the idea. Well, talk about a tree and roots. Your ancestors are your roots.
Yes, the
Yeah.
family tree.
The family tree. I am a firm believer. If you're going through something in your life, check in with your ancestors, because there's probably an ancestor who has had a similar experience or is going to have something to offer you for this situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Something to offer you is
yes,
right. Oh, that's
yes.
so good. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's I want to get caught up in a few of the comments, and Pamela said maybe it's also being in my heart rather than my head when we were talking about grounding.
Mm-hmm.
And Pamela also followed up with, Colleen, as you are really expanding my understanding of this is so good.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
So,
That's great.
yeah. And I'm also, let's can we talk about some other ways to ground?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's I think it's, hey Jacob, again, as many people are watching this, there are that many ways to ground, and
Mm-hmm.
you can borrow what somebody else has done to see if it works for you. But so I'd love to hear other ways of grounding.
Well, I went to a retreat one time where the people who were hosting the retreat lived on the land that we were doing the retreat on, and they had grown, or just, I think they maybe just found it growing wild, a certain kind of tea leaf that they felt was very grounding. And so they allowed us all to take some of those leaves and bring them home with us. And while we were there, we made tea with it, and that tea was very grounding. So,
Mm-hmm.
coffee, tea, things like that, you can drink, or you can infuse the water and then drink the water, and that's another way to really get the grounding to flow through your whole body.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way to do it.
Yeah. Sherry Freebury said, another way I ground is to go to the beach and dig my feet
Mhm.
into the sand.
Yes, I love
Yep.
that.
Sherry Freebury and I must definitely be like twin souls or something. Because everything that either one of us has mentioned, the other one's like, I do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that's one of my favorite things is get one of those little short beach chairs
Mm-hmm.
and go sit. When I used to live in Florida, I used to do this all the time. Sit right where the waves are starting to break, but it's
Sure.
not too high. It's just over your legs, and just sit there and let the waves crash up on your legs and stuff, and
Yeah.
just veg out. I mean, and
But
I've
but
been
I
doing
hope
that.
I hope you're doing that when the tide is going out and not when it's coming in, Sherry.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yes. I also think so. I also think about grounding. It's things that are going to activate my physical senses.
Mm-hmm.
So, not to be confused with earthing, but walking out in grass helps me. Feeling things, breathing appropriately, breathing from my belly using my diaphragm.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking water or tasting something is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at things that make me just feel connected. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And Jacob shared another way to ground is to close your eyes and feel the air around you.
Mm-hmm.
And, pulling weeds does it for Anya. Yeah. I have some weeds you can pull if you would like
Yeah, I
to.
was going to say, you want to come to my house?
So,
This pulling weeds is so interesting because you're grabbing the plant, which is grounding. It's in the dirt, which is grounding. You yourself are down in a small position, right? You're not standing all the way up. You're crouched down usually when you're doing weeds, and so again, like giving yourself a hug, you're closing the circuit. You're making the circuit of your
Mhm.
energy smaller so that it's
Yeah,
easier to contain.
I like that idea of closing the circuit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Closing
It's
the
really
circuit.
Really, really important. And that's the same as closing your eyes, from Jacob's comment. You're closing your eyes, you're shutting out that little portal of your eyeballs to the world. And so your energy is being more contained. You're probably at the same time closing your mouth, right? Mouth, eyes. So you're not getting that input, that stimulation.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it really does go back to that idea of being overstimulated.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, I've just got to slow this down. So,
Mhm.
and for me, I am a person who music will help me ground, because I will sometimes I want to dance because it's so good.
Mhm.
Drumming helps me with that because it puts me in touch with my heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, that's true. See, I think drumming is grounding, but I think just listening to music is actually another way of using one's energy and focusing it up into
Oh, okay.
higher and higher and higher vibrations. So I think it actually does the opposite of grounding. It takes you up, and it allows you to use the energy in a very constructive way, and in a way that feels, it's like the Tai Chi. You're flowing with the energy and allowing it to bring you to a different space so that it isn't chaotic and all bouncing around. You're doing something very, very constructive with it. You're moving your body in a pleasing way, in a way that it
Yeah.
enjoys. But I don't think it's totally grounding. I
Mhm.
mean, but I
I
do think drumming is. I think drumming
Yeah.
is, and I think it's because it does connect with the heartbeat. You guys can't see this, but my cat's whole body is right in front of the screen. I can't see anybody else's face. Just my cat is right here. She's very grounding. Pets are very grounding. If you hold your pet,
Oh
stroke
yeah.
your pet, play with your pet,
Yes.
that's very grounding. They are also
Mhm.
of the earth, like your
And they
body.
tend to be more plugged into when we need it than we are.
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, they
yes.
Um,
really are. I also wanted to say that most yoga movements, because they start with the inhale and the exhale, and because you breathe on the movement, that is also very, very grounding. Because as you breathe, you're literally pulling the energy down all the way through your body and into the earth. And as you exhale, you're pulling up energy that you want to let go of and blowing that out. You may not be thinking that when you're doing it, but that is what is happening. And it's a lot of why people feel so good when they get done with yoga. They've done all these cleansing breaths, and they're grounded,
Mhm.
and they're not scattered, and they're just calm. They're very, very calm.
I
I
love
know
that.
one of the things I love with Tai Chi is pulling up energy from Mother Earth,
Hmm.
gifting it to Father Sky, and then reversing it back down and letting
Yes.
it flow through you, going up and coming
Mhm.
down.
Hmm.
One of the teachers that I listen to when I'm trying to do it, um, that's kind of his way of explaining it.
Hmm.
And it just, the first time he said it, that really just resonated with me. It was like, I can visualize doing that as I'm making the movements. I'm
Hmm.
sure the neighbors think I'm just weird as hell. They already think I'm crazy, but because I can't burn incense in the house because my guys are allergic. So
Mhm.
first on the full moons and stuff like that, I go around outside the apartment with my sage, and I sage the windows and the doors outside.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure the neighbors at this point, most of the ones that have been here as long as I've been here, they're just like, that's that crazy witch lady over there. She
Well,
doesn't bite. And then the new people kind of see them looking at me like, what is she doing?
you brought up a really good point. Is and for me, sometimes grounding is actually cleaning the house or organizing something,
Yeah.
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
that for me is I'm overwhelmed, I'm overstimulated, and suddenly I'm like going, well, I know where that goes there, putting things where they belong, and
Yes.
that movement, because sometimes I go, I don't need this anymore, and I can get rid of it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
and cleaning, it can be a very good way to do. What is your cat's name, Colleen?
Mixed.
Nix. Okay. I mean, Nix has got something to say about this. So
Yes, she's very excited about this. Sherry, I want to tell you something. What I think you should do with when you go out and you do your rituals or you light your incense or do whatever you're going to do, I think that what you should visualize is a circle, a sphere all around the whole damn building, not just your
Oh, that's a
apartment,
good one.
just
Yeah.
the whole building. And I bet within 3 months, all those people who, oh, she's the weird witch lady, blah, 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 they'll be smiling at you and
yep.
happy because you'll be protecting that whole space. That's what you want to do. So, because you need to go outside. So you need to feel very protected in that whole space. So
Yeah.
anytime you're visualizing, make it as big as you want. Just
Yeah, because
protect
our
the
building
whole
alone is just 8 apartments. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just 8
I
families
love that.
and then, there's the next building over and over. And I mean, it's a huge complex, but
Yeah.
So
I
do
have
the,
actually,
so do your building and then encase that in another sphere for the whole
Yes.
complex so that everything is protected so that you and your family are protected, but so are all these other families because you don't want, crazy mofos all around you. You want the
isn't that the
whole
truth?
thing to be
Yeah.
safe and protected. And yeah, I got my whole half of my block protected and it's great.
Oh, yeah.
When a tree falls in our neighborhood, never hits my house, never hits anybody's house, just falls in the
Yep.
yard.
Yep. Yeah, I like
Or in the
that.
street. Yep.
Yep.
So Anita K said, "I wish I could go out and work in my flower beds. I miss it, but I just can't physically do that anymore."
Yeah.
Could this be a good visualization to help with grounding?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See, I get that, Anita, because once I got injured and now my spine is all screwed up, there is so much that I just physically can't do anymore that I have to just kind of think about it or remember when I used to do it or stop myself just before I start doing it with reminder of no, Sherry, you're going to hurt yourself if you do that.
Yeah.
You
So
know better.
I sent my guest a list of questions, and I think we've covered most of them. We've touched on a lot of them. Here's a question that is not on the list, so get ready. Can you help someone else ground without actually saying that you're helping them ground?
Yes.
Oh, I think so. Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
give them a hug.
Oh, I agree with you. Yeah.
That's what we're doing. Every time when we say you need a hug, we're helping them ground. Or just when you put your hand over their hand, any touch is going to help
Yeah.
people ground. Now they might be resistant of that. We've had that where they're like, don't touch me. Wow, there's a big resistance there. So that's a whole other video to talk about. But that
Oh,
that
yeah.
touch is very good. Or that's also why when people think that you're upset, they'll say, can I make you a cup of tea? Do you want a cup of coffee?
Yep.
Can I get you something to eat? Here, I have this little slice of cake. Do you want some? Because the food also is grounding. So yeah, you can help other people ground. Now, but I would say, don't be manipulative. If they don't want it, don't give it to them, but most of the time they want it because it's usually your friend. Right?
Well, and I the last 6 or 7 years in my job, I would go to different places and fill in while they were having a lot of change. And one of the things I realized is when I showed up, the whole environment shifted from what I was told. And part of it, I think, was the grounding aspect that I brought to the environment. And, I'm not overly, I'm not blowing hot air. I just know that when I would see somebody and it's like, not necessarily going to hug someone in the office. However, I am going to say, hey, why don't we go and get a cup of coffee? And suddenly they're moving, the energy shifts. And then people have said, oh, I just feel so much calmer.
Yeah.
And I've actually had some people, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean what I'm doing? Because I'm not going to show them all of the energy grids and things that I've done and the protection that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But I am going to engage them in that conversation so they can go, huh, maybe I could do that, or that could be very helpful.
Have you
Yeah,
ever
my
just
mother.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead,
Oh,
Sherry.
okay. Okay. My mother spent most of her life working in service related jobs. The
Mhm.
last 20, 25 years, she had worked at Joann's. And they wear the big aprons, they got all their scissors and tools and stuff in it. And she used to carry around a bag of Hershey's Kisses in her
Yeah.
apron.
Mhm.
And she would walk around the store, and when new customers would walk in, she'd walk over to them, welcome them to the store, and then ask them, "Would you like a kiss?" And in their first reaction, before they could actually know what to say, she would pull out a handful of Hershey's Kisses
Aw.
for them to grab a kiss. And I watched her do that so many times and saw not just the reaction of someone taking that one piece of chocolate to eat, but their reaction 9 out of 10 times would be to give her a hug,
Yeah.
to
Oh,
thank her.
sure.
Nice.
And
Very
and
nice.
that was just one of her little things that she
Yes.
always did.
Mhm.
Very
And
nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Another I just thought of another whole area of things that I do to stay grounded is my rocks. Like I in every room of my house I have. Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Are you complaining, or is that a good thing, Madame Maru? Because I know they were talking about gardening, and then she said, also, I'm surrounded by rocks. But the darker stones and the green stones are really good for grounding. And you
Mhm.
you need to have your grounding stones so that when things are really bad, you can grab a stone and get yourself grounded. But
Yes.
you don't want the stones that you keep around you to only be grounding stones. You also want to have stones that spark your clarity of thought and your
Mhm.
focus and your creativity and your love and healing, and you want all of those things. So you want probably many different colored stones, but when you really need that grounding, that's when you want to pull
Yeah.
out the heavy guns, the onyx, the
Yes.
tourmaline, the um, obsidian, and then maybe a little, what was the other one I just flashed through my mind? Um, the
And that's right.
smoky quartz if you're feeling
Smoky
really bad.
quartz. Yeah. Yeah. Beth has a lot of jasper for grounding.
Yes, jasper is very, very good for grounding. I have a really pretty rock. It's like about this, like you can hold it in your hand, in your palm of your hand. It's pretty big. And I wanted a red jasper, and when I got it, I had to buy it online. I think it was during COVID when I got it. And one half of it is this beautiful red jasper, and the other half is all striated with some matrix and all sorts of different
Oh,
colors
wow.
of jasper and stuff. It's really a pretty stone. But when I got it, I was kind of disappointed. And then I looked into jasper and I looked and I was like, okay, this is going to work. And I keep that one on the side of my bathtub because the
Oh,
red of it
nice.
does represent fire. And I was having terrible problems with bathroom ceiling leaking and stuff like that. So I put it on my bathtub, and it's been great ever since.
Yeah. I
I,
love that.
you know,
I
I
did
had a
have a new
client.
bathroom put in, though. I mean, that's really why it's great ever since. It wasn't just the Jasper. Sorry, go ahead.
I had a client that I did a reading for, and as we were wrapping up, she showed me she had got picked up. She had gone somewhere in Arizona, I think the Grand Canyon. She had said, and she had some petrified wood
Mm,
that had turned to stone. Basically,
mhm,
it was so petrified,
Mhm.
and she had like a couple of really big pieces, and I commented on it. I was like, "Those are really gorgeous." And she said, "Well, send me your address and I'll send you one." And she sent me a piece. It's about the size of my, the fit
Mhm.
in the palm of my hand. And so it's not great big, but I just love to sit and look at it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes just to hold it. It's like I can feel the earth talking to me when
Yeah.
I
yeah,
just hold it in my hand.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of people talk to rocks, Sherry. A lot of people
Yeah.
literally have conversations with rocks,
Oh,
so
of course. Yeah.
don't discount it. You got a lot of energy there to work with.
Oh,
Even
yes.
though it seems static, it's not.
Yeah.
No. No.
And I think, for me, I'm fortunate to have some larger rocks, some smoky quartz, and some
Mm,
obsidian. It's great
mm.
to put my feet on it.
Ooh, yeah.
That's when
I
Oh,
like
I
that.
wow.
really overstimulated, overwhelmed, and
Mhm.
I don't know which way is up. I
Yeah.
do that, and I go, okay. I mean, and I always wear my tiger's eye when
Yeah.
I'm doing readings, but it's very grounding and it's very protecting for me.
Yeah. And where do you
Yeah,
think
I've got
someone
my
got
tiger's eye on.
where do you think those, massage people got the bright idea to do stone massage,
There you go.
right? So grounding because all their damn
Talk
clients were
about
all
a
bouncing
wonderful
off the
feeling.
walls.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, this has been wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Any takeaways that you want to make sure people take with them? Takeaways for about the topic of grounding.
Don't be afraid to try anything different.
Mhm.
You never know what may work for you, and what may work for you today, maybe it won't work for you tomorrow. Therefore, you need to pull out
Sure.
another item from your little goodie bag. Okay, well, this didn't work today like it did yesterday. Let me try this instead.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And just kind of have your learn to read yourself enough, I think, is what I've been learning the last few years, to understand what I need to reach for in my little bag that I keep my stuff. What helps me to get to that place that I need to be.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about so many things, but
Hmm.
the basic things of using food to ground, I think, is so simple and easy for people to do and immediate. But if you can realize that your energy is something that you should get to know, your energy is a part of you, just like
Yes.
your arm is a part of you. And it's neither good nor bad being grounded or ungrounded or whatever. It's neither good nor bad, it just is. And you need to begin to understand what your energy is from day to day.
Yes.
So I challenge everybody to either keep a journal or maybe a running diary on your phone to just track where your energy is going. Maybe track it to the moon, because that might be
Hmm.
instructive, and see if that is really impacting you, or maybe you're more impacted by people. If you are, then you're definitely an empath. But
Hmm.
just figure out how your energy flows. How much of it do you control, or can you control it, or can you shift it or change it? And how much are you allowing the outside forces to impact you? And I just think it's a good thing for everybody to do, so that you can protect yourself when you need to. You can enjoy your energy when it's really feeling good. And, like I said, it's not good or bad, it just is.
It just is.
Yeah.
I'm going to build off of what my amazing guests have added and say ritual matters.
Mm,
Yeah.
If you do something regularly, then you can understand how your energy has shifted, how when you are overstimulated or you're not feeling grounded, and then you have a lot of options to try things. Stick with one thing for a while and allow it to build up. Um, you know, get curious about what works for you, and guess what? Energy shifts multiple
Yeah.
times,
yeah.
and
And
there's
don't be
nothing
afraid
wrong
to
with
ask.
yes. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and all of it is it just is.
It just
You get
is.
to work what you have with you. Great. Just do it consciously, and your ancestors can help you if you want.
Yes, that's right.
Yes,
They
they
would like
can.
that. So, all right, we will
Exactly.
be scheduling another other side of the coin sometime in June. Subscribe to all of our channels so that you will be sure not to miss it. And in the description, I have my grounding, my protection video playlist. I also have a playlist for the other side of the coin. So if you've missed any of them, you can follow that playlist.
Awesome.
I believe I did a playlist for it too.
Yep,
I'll have to go back
perfect.
and double check.
Yes.
But I figure we'll probably meet again either the 13th or the 20th of June, depending on everybody's schedule.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
here you go. Good energy hygiene is so important. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all very much, and we appreciate you spending time with us.
Thank
Bye.
you, Gerald. You
Bye,
were a great
everybody.
host.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you,